Terry Baum.
Thank you very much, Jake. We are talking about the Beaver Dam Area Community Foundation on our program today. Our guests are Tom Heffron and Jeff Rayberg. If you have a question for Tom or Jeff, we invite you to join the conversation. You can call us at 920-887-8585, or you can call the studio line directly at 885-4446. So I'm sure I'm interested for sure, and I'm sure maybe anyone who's listening who maybe is part of a nonprofit would be interested. Help walk us through the process. So you get applications. First of all, what sorts of qualifications, what sort of requirements does an applicant have to meet to be successful?
Well, first of all, they have to be a 501c3 nonprofit based on IRS status. And that's actually very interesting, too, because when you look at the IRS chart, there's actually 501c and then 1 through 29. So sometimes people think that they qualify if they're tax exempt, but they also have to be a nonprofit based on IRS. So it's a 501c3 is the entity that we're looking for. They have to be able to show that they are serving Dodge County. They could be located outside of Dodge County, like we have some, like Big Brothers Big Sisters or Safe Families or whatever, that their offices are actually in Jefferson County. Or Habitat is another one. They're located actually in Washington. There's also some nonprofits that are located, their offices are located in Fond du Lac, but they serve Dodge County. So as long as they show on their application that they are serving Dodge County children, families, or the community, they qualify. We do have the online application process, which is on our website, which is Beaver Dam ACF, stands for Area Community Foundation .com, and then people apply on there. We usually tell everybody, as opposed to what you normally hear for all different applications, the shorter the better. We know what you do. We know you do great work. Jeff said we know the vast majority of the nonprofits out there. And so the shorter the better as far as the applications. They can apply then on beaverdamacf.com, and our grants are from $500 to $2,500. We fund just about anything and everything except for two areas. We do not fund things that are religious in nature, or we do not fund things that are political in nature. So religion and politics are two things that community foundations avoid. But saying that, we also encourage groups, for example, St. Catherine Drexel, or First Lutheran Church, or St. Vincent de Paul. They applied, and they apply for different things that are non-religious. For example, St. Catherine Drexel, they asked for some money for band and music stands. That's non-religious to us, okay? St. Vincent de Paul, or another one is Living Hope Food Pantry over in Fox Lake. They applied for refrigerators. Now, I may worship a refrigerator myself, unfortunately, but buying a new refrigerator is non-religious to us. Okay. Another example is the wonderful program at they're on their own now, but it's still housed at First Lutheran Church here in Beaver Dam. That's the Loaves and Fishes program. They apply for food. Okay, or we gave them money for a convention oven. So those are kind of things that we mainly look for. So they can apply, okay. Another example is some of the groups, they apply because they need money, because they do wonderful case management work for families that need money to pay their Alliant bill, okay, or additional food or whatever. So that is okay. That's also eligible for us.
Okay, so be a 501c. You have to serve Dodge County. The money you used cannot be used for any religious or political reasons. Any other sort of qualifications?
That's the main thing. But otherwise, we're all over the board, and we always also look for the fact that we want to make sure that we give money out to all the different communities, okay? So we have funded agencies in Waupun and Fox Lake and Mayville.
Lowell, Reeseville.
Louisville, yeah, Hustersford, Kleiman, okay, you name it. Okay, Randolph is another one. So they're all eligible, okay, and which is great because that's one of our unwritten rules, I guess, that we really want to make sure that we spread the money around to as many communities as possible.
Let's say a nonprofit meets all the qualifications, submits a quality application, but as you've mentioned before, there's only so much money to go around, and maybe they don't get the money they seek, maybe they don't get any, maybe they don't get exactly as much as they want. Where can those nonprofits go to get their needs met?
Okay. Well, sometimes there's other foundations, because in each of the communities, there's always been some family foundations out there. Sometimes they have to do their own fundraising. Sometimes we have to, no one has told us, no, we're not going to take your money. Okay, whether it's $500 or $2,500, they've always greatly appreciated and always have used our money well. They also have to do a grant evaluation. We try to hook them up to other organizations that we can that are raising money, like the service clubs. Okay, or sometimes if they have a certain particular need, we said, well, that's already being served by PAVE or St. Vincent de Paul, or different groups that may have some money that way as well.
You mentioned family foundations. You actually help those family foundations understand how to conduct their operations.
Yeah, and we do some connections with them as well, because so sometimes some of those family foundations, or even some of the families that we have that have set up funds with us, they will pick up a particular grant that they like. Okay, and so it doesn't all come from our grant funds that we have, but it comes from their fund, their family fund as well, and that's tremendous. The other thing that we do is we do a lot of big check pictures out there, and that has always then added additional exposure for the nonprofits, and that has really helped them also get additional funds from other people.
Right, yeah, so that's a benefit that doesn't cost anything, that publicity you get from those big check photos.
Right. And just as a point of clarification, when you're talking about family funds, it doesn't mean that a family is coming to the foundation asking for funds.
No.
Because obviously they wouldn't be a nonprofit, IRS, certified. But what it is, by a family of funds, is it's a family that has donated money to the foundation, sometimes with a specific cause that they want needs met, or sometimes it's just generic and they say, we'll give to the foundation and let the foundation and its advisory committee decide where there's needs and where monies can be spent. And then that family fund can be tapped, as these grant applications come in.
So an example of that is, and I'll use the Heffron Family Fund. So 6 years ago, we said, okay, let's set up a family fund, okay? And we actually then ended up donating stock, okay? So then my stock went from Milwaukee to Fond du Lac. They sold it. They then set up the money into the Tom and Judy Heffron Family Fund, okay? I avoided capital gains taxes, so then my accountant was happy. And that was also good on the tax side. So now we have a pot of money that we can give out to different organizations that we like to, whether it's the theater or St. Catherine's or PAVE or whatever, or the orchestra is another one that, because we sponsor that. But any family can set up a fund with us. It just takes $1,000 to set up a fund. And I can tell you that with all the different, we're at 100 different funds right now. And we're already at $4 million of total assets right now.
Very good. We're talking with Tom Heffron and Jeff Rayberg of the Beaver Dam Area Community Foundation about all the help they provide in the community. We do have to take a break now for the news, but we will be right back. You're listening to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Here's Terry Bell.
Thank you so much, Jake. We're talking about the Beaver Dam Area Community Foundation today and all the good work they do. Our guests are Tom Heffron and Jeff Rayberg of the foundation. Maybe you have a question or even a comment. We invite you to join the conversation. You can call us or text us at 920-887-8585, or you can call the studio line at 885-4446. I was just interested to know more about how people can get involved on the family level. Say your family has some funds and it takes as little as $1,000. That was quite a revelation to me. And you want to put that money to good use in the community. And you are able to help that. And in fact, you can even relate as you each have your own family funds.
That's right. So right before the break, Tom was talking about the Tom and Judy Heffron Fund. Well, there's also a Jeff and Sue Rayberg Family Fund that my wife and I created. And I guess the reason why we decided to do that was because we both found employment here in Beaver Dam. We raised our kids in Beaver Dam, and we wanted in some way to give back to the community and ensure that the community stays strong for other families and people that are choosing to work here and be part of this town. So that's really why we established that fund. And twice a year, I get a statement from the Community Foundation that shows, the money that we have given. And we see how that money has grown in interest, so that there's more. We can also see recent contributions to that fund, or we can see withdrawals that we've selected to make from that fund towards some of the grants that our nonprofits, applying for. There are people who, for the same reason that we did, they feel a sense of community and they want to find an avenue to give back to the community. There are also other people out there who may not have a strong church affiliation, or perhaps don't have children to, give their money to as they, near the end of their years or as they start to age. And they're looking for places to give some of the financial resources that they had. So they choose a foundation like this that can serve a lot of needs within the Beaver Dam area community. So, yeah.
So families, actually individuals as well, can set up their own fund, as we've mentioned here. There are some choices that they have. There's called non-endowed funds, which means you can set up the fund. Again, $1,000 is the minimum, and you have to keep a $1,000 balance. But then non-endowed means you put the money in, and you can then make contributions to a variety of entities, 501c3s, school district, churches, or municipalities, actually. So that's how we've been able to raise money for the pickleball courts or for the Swan Park here. But that's called a non-endowed funds. So that's you put money in, and you can take money out as you wish for your different charitable giving. There's also an endowed fund. So we have some families or some agencies that have also set up endowed funds. Endowed funds are you put money in, and you can only take up to 4% out per year. So that's even more long-term investments, if you will. And Jeff mentioned about investments. What happens here is our $4 million of total assets is then combined with the $80 million that the Fond du Lac Area Foundation has, because they've been around since 1974, and that's where the professional staff are. So then that is invested very conservatively. The last couple of years have been very good years, but I can go back 3 years ago, it was a negative 5%. If you remember, 2022 was not a good year on the stock market. But then 2023 was the best year ever. That was a positive 13.9% return. Last year, 2024, was 9.5% on the positive side. And if anybody knows which direction the stock market's going to end up here for this year, you let us know. But so far, it's been fine. But overall, it's been very good. Usually about 5 or 6% return. And that then is then put back into your fund as well on the investment side. Fond du Lac charges 1% per year for the funds. I wanted to mention also that a lot of our funds, besides family funds, are also agency funds. So a lot of the agency funds, a lot of the nonprofits that we have set up funds with us as just part of their total financial picture. We've also set up funds. We have 14 funds with the city of Beaver Dam. They wanted to fund, right now we're raising more money for Swan Park, or the skate park group is now trying to raise money. Last year was pickleball. There was a group that wanted to raise, actually they ended up raising $300,000 for the new pickleball courts in town. There was a special fund that we set up with St. Vincent de Paul for their food pantry expansion. So a lot of different agencies, PAVE has set up a fund with Marsh Haven, a lot of different groups that are totally separate from our grants. Our grants are over here, but then they can also set up a fund with us and people can contribute directly. And with that also means that if a family sets up a donor advised fund with us, and you work with your financial advisors, we're not financial advisors of any means, but you work with your financial advisor and you set up your family fund, what we have set up now is that people can do an inter-fund transfer. They can transfer money from their family fund with us to one of the funds that we have with the agencies. And they don't even have to cut a check. They just send an email actually to the Fond du Lac office. So that's set up for people because a lot of people don't even like to write out checks anymore. And we also, there's a QR code because now the younger generation, they don't write out checks. They scan here and they make donations that way. So now we have a QR code that people can make contributions to.
You mentioned the stock market earlier, and I think tell our audience, what you do. You said you also mentioned invest in conservatively. People, I'm sure, want that assurance that you're being good stewards of their money and they intend, the money that they give up to go to the nonprofits that will help the community and not necessarily a lot of overhead or, irresponsible management of the money.
So the Fond du Lac Area Foundation, our parent organization, they have a finance committee and a lot of smart people on there. They meet monthly. They monitor the market, and they've done, as I said, extremely well, especially the last couple of years. So they watch it very carefully. They adjust it. But it's still very, very, I would say, on the ultra-conservative side when you get into investment. So they've done very well, and that means a lot more to the families as well, because they may have, and I'm not a financial advisor, but they may, they'll have their usual checking and savings account or CDs, but this is just one part of their financial picture. So, for example, we're getting a lot more families now, or even contributions to our grant fund that come from the QCD, the Qualified Contribution Deduction, or the RMDs if you're 73 or over, like myself. So those are required minimum distributions. So that means they have to take the money out now. They've had it tax-free for all these years. They have to take the money out, pay the taxes, but now you can make contributions to your charitable organizations. So we are getting a lot more retirement contributions coming in, which is tremendous because it still goes back to a lot of people want to contribute back to benefiting the community and the nonprofits.
That's kind of a win-win when you get to be our age and you've had some types of investments. All of a sudden you are faced with a required minimum distribution. You have to take money out. You have to spend it. They want that working in the economy, in the nation's economy. So if you need that money for your own living, great, you have access to it, you'll use it. But if there's portions of that money that you don't need, and you decide at this point in your life, okay, I'd like to give something back to my community, you can direct that money, to a foundation like this, where that money, it's a win-win. It keeps you from some very, very severe tax burdens, and it also benefits your community, so.
Very good. We're talking about the Beaver Dam Area Community Foundation and all the good work they do. We're going to take a break right here and be right back. You're listening to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Listen to Green.
Community comment. Here's Terry Bell.
Thank you so much, Jake. We're so pleased to have Tom Heffron and Jeff Rayberg with us today from the Beaver Dam Area Community Foundation. We're talking about all the help that they provide our nonprofits in Dane County. Maybe you have a question or a comment for Tom and Jeff. You can certainly Dodge County.
Dodge County.
Oh, did I goof up?
Dane.
Oh, see, I lived there for 26
did.
years,
Just
so
came
it's
right off the tongue, but we're Dodge.
Okay, thank you. That makes so much more sense, doesn't it? Oh, sorry, folks. Yeah. Anyway, if you would like to call or text 920-887-8585 or 885-4446. And there's a really fun night coming up. You can do some good and enjoy some great food at Culver's.
Right. On November 3rd at Culver's between 5 and 8 p.m. There's going to be an event there that where the money spent benefits the Beaver Dam Education Foundation or Education Fund.
And so the Beaver Dam Unified School District has a fund. They're one of our 100 funds that we have. And a couple times a year, we try to do some fundraising with them, with the school district. And then one of them is with Culver's, again on Monday, November 3rd, 5 until 8 p.m. And it's one of those shared nights, so 15% of the sales, as well as 15% of the gift cards that are sold all day, actually, for the gift cards. Then that goes into the Beaver Dam Education Fund. And then Jeff and I and others, we review different mini grant proposals from the teachers and the administrators of the Beaver Dam Unified School District. And then it funds all sorts of small projects from $500 to $2,500 that way. And some of them are the robotics team, or outside seating for school districts. Some of the elementary teachers, they always come up with a lot of different creative ideas, as well as middle school and high school, where it's for the early childhood children, whatever. So there was a project last year that we funded that was paying for the virtual reality goggles project. I mean, all those kind of great things. Anyway, so that's Monday, November 3rd at Culver's from 5 until 8 p.m.
Monday, November 3rd.
And that money goes to the Beaver Dam Education Fund, which is just like a subset of the Community Foundation. That fund was established so that teachers who have special projects in mind and the money isn't available to them through the district, they can kind of start pilot projects or special interest projects within their classrooms, get some seed money to test ideas out or buy some materials that otherwise wouldn't be paid for by the district. This year, we just had that process of reviewing all those grants, and we were happy that we were able to meet needs at the elementary, the middle school, and the high school division. One of the exciting things that we did for the high school was we supported a proposal to actually extend the FFAs and the greenhouse curriculum into the summer so that they could have almost another growing season to start a project that is growing flowers that are for fall, mums, chrysanthemums. And at the middle school, we support a project that is for their advisory committee that kind of gives incentives for children's, good behavior. And so many at the elementary level, just small classroom supplies that teachers need.
Wanted to mention before we run out of time our contact information, but also just when people contribute, whether it's to our grant fund for the Dodge County nonprofits, or they set up their own family funds and contribute from there, when the contributions are put in there, whether it's for Swan Park or pickleball, the Fond du Lac office actually sends the thank you letter out. That's been a major selling point for a lot of the different nonprofits to set up funds with us, because a lot of times the staff or their board or their volunteers don't have time to send out the thank you letters that covers the tax deductible contribution arrangement that they need for their tax return. So that's automatically sent out. The other thing is that when funds are set up, whether it's family funds that we talked about or agencies, then actually a computer account is then created. Person creates their own password. That's through the Fond du Lac office as well, and then they can monitor their account daily if they wish. And then for any of this, all information, they can contact myself, which is Tom Heffron, and my phone number is 920-763-2618, or I have sort of a unique email address, which is bdtoyman, Toyman, at gmail.com. And some of your listeners will know I have that bdtoyman.com or bdtoyman at gmail.com as an email, because I also have 20 rooms of toys as opposed to 20 renters.
He won't grow up.
No.
He just has
Forever a
toys
child.
forever.
But anyway, the other thing that I wanted to mention is that if a family or an individual or an organization or a city wanted to have a conversation with us about setting up a fund or even contributing, they can just contact me. I do a lot of different presentations, and then we kind of go from there.
Not much time left, but I just wanted to make sure that we got the word out. So when is the next opportunity? You say you distribute funds twice a year. So when is the next deadline?
We'll be announcing the next grant guidelines here for our general grant area in February of 2026. I always give the nonprofits about a month to fill out the application. Again, it's online on our website, which is beaverdamacf.com. And it's a very simple process. Once the nonprofit applies once, the front part of that application kind of stays the same. And then the second part is what they're asking for that grant cycle. Did want to remind the nonprofits, though, at this time that we have our new Beaver Dam Area Community Foundation Impact Grant Guidelines, which is open now to apply from October 1st to Halloween, October 31st. And those are mini construction grants for $5,000 to $10,000. It can be less than $5,000 too. But that application is open again right now. And again, that's beaverdamacf.com.
Very good. We've been so pleased to have Tom Heffron and Jeff Rayberg with us from the Beaver Dam Area Community Foundation. Gentlemen, it's been an hour well spent. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah,
And just always our last word, always give while you live.
That's right. Well, this is Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. Thanks for being with us.
The WB